Good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Chopping It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Well, let's get started. Happy Monday. Thanks for all of y'all that continuously to tune in and show support and love and watch the show. But we're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk a little NBA action and talk some baseball as well. But let me get started. We had 3 games on yesterday in the playoffs. And I'm going to start off by asking, is there a more disappointing team in the playoffs than the Toronto Raptors? You know, here's the thing. Your chances of beating the defending champion Cleveland Cavaliers was probably slim to none. But you made acquisitions for this moment. You kind of built your roster for this moment. Yeah, I know Kyle Lowry got hurt and missed the last 2 games, but this wasn't about Kyle Lowry not being there. This is about you, Toronto, showing some heart, showing some confidence, having some killer instincts in you to go out there and have a fight with these guys. It's like you brought a butter knife to a fencing match. And you just didn't show up. And it's no excuse for this behavior. Last year you was in the Eastern Conference Finals. You lost 4-2 to the same team. I'm on record thinking that Cleveland team last year is better than this year, and the Toronto team of this year is better than last year. And you guys made my words just look totally the opposite. Unbelievable what I watched. And I'm gonna put this on Dwayne Casey. I think he should receive some votes for Coach of the Year. What he had to deal with throughout the year and get his team to the playoffs and have them at this point. But at the same time, I think he blew it. As he made that adjustment in the Milwaukee series to go small and sit Valanciunas and have him come off the bench, it was very effective and it was positive. But you cannot bring that same lineup to the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know, the one thing about the Cleveland Cavaliers, they play small, but they're big. From the very beginning, he should have had Valanciunas in there along with Ibaka, along with PJ Tucker, along with DeRozan, along with Kyle Lowry. But no, he did not. He chose to go small, and the first 2 games, Cleveland ran through them. Just ran through them. They kind of bullied them at the paint and just shot lights out around the perimeter. Just an awful display by the Toronto Raptors in this series. I doubt if we see this team come back the way it's assembled. You have 3 key free agents on that team. You have Ibaka, you have PJ Tucker, and you also have Kyle Lowry, the general, the point guard, the orchestrator, the conductor. I don't see this team returning as we see it last. With that said, I don't want to take anything away from the Cavaliers. They are the defending champions. They showed who they are. They show why they're a threat to win it all again, to repeat. LeBron yesterday was sensational. He had 35 points. Kyrie Irving had 27 points. And there was a Kyle Korver sighting as he came off the bench and he had 18 points. Cleveland looked like they're clicking. This was a game they didn't need the big 3. Kevin Love was held to under double-digit points. But again, I don't want to take away too much from Cavs. Cavs came, handled business, did what they had to do, and may be on a break now for about a week to 10 days, depending on the outcome of the Washington-Boston series, which, by the way, looks like it's destined to go 7. But I'm very disappointed in the Toronto Raptors. This series should have easily went 6, getting swept, losing 2 games at home. It's just disgusting. It really is. It's disgusting. Later in the week, we'll talk about possible destinations for Kyle Lowry, Ibaka, and PJ Tucker. But again, very disgusting what we saw here this round of playoffs. This late in the season. I mean, you're building your team. Toronto's building a team to compete with the likes of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And to get swept, it's just, to me, it's an embarrassment. It really is. It's an embarrassment. So kudos to Cleveland, Cavs, and LeBron. They move on. They've won 11 straight playoff games dating back to the NBA Finals last year. So they'll just wait their winner of Washington and Boston. Speaking of Washington and Boston, I made a bold statement. I posted it on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, just as the playoffs was about to start, I believe it was. And I said, I quote, I posted, the Washington Wizards backcourt of Beal and Wall is the best backcourt in the game. I got a lot of heat for this. A lot of individuals replied back, said to Clay and Curry. And I know that's the sexy pick. And it's hard to argue that. And you know, I got some responses that, you know, they got playoff wins. How many playoff wins does the Washington Wizards have? You know, all that may be true and dandy. But the one thing I want to say about that is that at the end of the day, it's a team effort. If you don't have the complete team to win, it doesn't matter how strong or how weak your backcourt is. If you don't have the team to win, you won't win. But that doesn't mean just because you haven't won that you can't be recognized. You know, Luke Longley has 3 rings. Bill Cartwright has 3 rings. Patrick Ewing doesn't have any. Does that make them a better center than Patrick Ewing? Patrick Ewing is going to the Hall of Fame without a ring. Those guys got 3 and won't get in. Robert Horry may be the most fortunate NBA player ever with 7 rings. Most of them as a role player that came off the bench. He won't make it to the Hall of Fame. But if I had a vote, Jamal Crawford as a 6-man would go to the Hall of Fame. He's probably the most lethal 6-man we have ever seen. Might be the best player to ever enter the game coming off the bench. Yeah, ultimately you want to win rings, but it doesn't mean because you don't have them, you can't be the best at what you're doing. And I'll tell you, Washington's backcourt of John Wall and Bradley Beal is the best backcourt in the game. They put that on display last night as they handled the Boston Celtics at home yesterday. This game was 48-48 at half. John Wall was 1 for 9 in the first half, still dictating the pace of the game, still doing what John Wall does best, tallying a few assists, making the game easier for other players. He finished with 27 points, 12 assists, 3 rebounds, and 5 steals. Meanwhile, his counterpart, Bradley Beal, had 28. Oh, by the way, he held Isaiah Thomas to 19 points. So, Isaiah Thomas has the most dubious record of the person who had the highest drop-off total points between 2 games, going from 53 to 13, but managed 19 in game 4. So Bradley Beal's defense trying to smother him is working. John Wall with 5 steals. As I said, one of the reasons why I believe that John Wall and Bradley Beal are the best backcourt in the game is I think collectively they play better defense than any other backcourt. And their offense is through the roof. And they're just as good on offense as any backcourt in the game. Now, Charles Barkley yesterday, he went on record and said that John Wall is the second best player in the Eastern Conference and the number one point guard in the Eastern Conference. I'm on record saying that John Wall is the 5th best point guard in the game. And that's behind Westbrook, Curry, Irving, Chris Paul, and him. If he's the best point guard in the Eastern Conference, then Charles Barkley, unlike me, has him better than Kyrie Irving. That's saying a lot. But I can see why. Because, again, John Wall might be top 2, definitely top 3 defensive point guard in the game. Defensive point guard in the game. He guarded Avery Bradley last night. Avery Bradley was not a factor. Okay, so, again, John Wall and Bradley Beal are still my top backcourt. But let's talk about the game. Washington, 27 for Wall, 28 for Bradley Beal, 18 for Porter, 18 for Marquise Morris, 18 for Bogdanovich off the bench. They had it going. They had it going everywhere. They just had it going. They weathered the storm in the first half as Boston took an early lead. But this team here, their defense in the third quarter was something for the ages. They just smothered Boston. Boston couldn't. They went on a 26-0 run. Think about that for a second, guys. A 26-0 run. We're in the second round of the playoffs against the number 1 seed. Unbelievable defense fueled by that backcourt. Otto Porter getting into the passing lane. John Wall, like I said, 5 steals. Many during that stretch. Unbelievable what we witnessed. I tell you, this best of 7 is now going to be a best of 3. It's anybody's game. Boston has the advantage with 2 home games, but the momentum is clearly on Washington's side, and the pressure's on Boston. Because one thing that Washington has been able to do throughout this whole game is have big leads, whether it was on the road or at home. So if they're going to that Boston, going to Boston TD Gardens and get another one of those big leads, this could be an early night, an early series for Boston. It could be a 6-game series. Because I don't think Boston can win in Washington. They had house money. They could have came out there and just let it all out. And they couldn't get it done on the road. The pressure's now on Boston. The pressure's on Boston. And here's where I got to go back to Danny Ainge. And I'm going to sound like a broken record on this, guys. But if Isaiah is not doing it, who will? Who is? Listen, you got a nice bunch of role players on this team. I don't deny that. They fit nicely. They play well together. They respect and listen to the coach, and they execute. But if Isaiah Thomas is not having one of those Isaiah Thomas games, who's going to step up in his absence? No one. You need a second star. You need that second star. You should have acquired it at the trade deadline, Danny Ainge. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Here's my take on it. This is why you acquire it, for moments like this. But here's the thing. If you're going after it in free agency to acquire that second star, you have players on a team that's not going to be around. Such as maybe a Jaylen Brown. You may not have use for him. He's probably going to go in a trade package. Maybe even Jay Crowder might have to go. You may have to give up one of those picks. If that was the case, why didn't you do it at the break? It could be a different outcome. It really could be. It could be a different outcome. If John Wall is not scoring, he's going to facilitate and get others open who can knock down shots from Bradley Beal, go attack and post up. Marquise Morris, Otto Porter, they can find ways to score. But Donovich comes off the bench. If the Boston Celtics should lose this series, which can very well happen, they got a lot of answers. I know they're going to be looking to trade at the available trading partners. They might look at Blake Griffin. They might look at Gordon Hayward. They're going to need to look at something. Because Isaiah Thomas, in the MVP type season he's having, and playing the role of Batman, he clearly needs a Robin to go along with him. Otherwise, this is going to be Boston stories for years to come. Good regular season, early exits in the playoffs. Moving right along, Houston regained their composure, flexed their muscles at home as they pull off a 20-point win. I think it was 125-104 over San Antonio Spurs, who looked like they had regained their form and had Houston's number. But Houston, they came back and had a tremendous win last night. They had it clicking. Lou Williams, Eric Gordon off the bench. They gave you 20-plus points between the two of them. James Harden was James Harden. He had 28 points. Contributions from everywhere. It looked like San Antonio just couldn't get it going. It was too much to ask for Aldridge to give you back-to-back performance. I thought maybe he had found something and dug deep and was able to come back with something, but looked like the lost Aldridge was back. He should be taking those guys. I mean, he's 7 feet. He's got a nice little jump shot, a turnaround jump shot. He's got to be quicker with his release, quicker with his shot. He's got to move the ball or shoot the ball before the double team come. He has vantages all over the place. I mean, Nene went out. Capella was in foul trouble. He took no advantage of Ryan Anderson guarding him. I don't know what it is about Aldridge. I'm not impressed with him. Tony Parker is down. Murray, he's given a valiant effort. But it still favors San Antonio. As San Antonio went to Houston and did what they needed to do, was just win one. What was a best of 7 is now going to come down to a best of 3 with 2 games left in San Antonio. I like the Spurs' chances. But the Spurs, like Boston, if Kawhi is not scoring, they have to find somebody else who can pick up the slack. Kawhi finished with, I think, 18 points, but Aldridge had 16, and there was nobody over with 20. And I think Jonathan Simmons, he came off the bench to score 18 points. They just don't have enough offense going on right now. It's not a good look. They don't necessarily have to match the threes that Houston is shooting, but they have to be efficient with their shot. And right now, that's not taking place, at least not in that game last night. But again, with 2 games left in San Antonio, I like the Spurs' chances. I still think and believe they get it done. But kudos to Houston for getting the job done last night. We have another game on tonight, only game tonight, in fact, and it's Golden State and Utah. I thought Utah would win one at home. At this point here, I don't see it happening, especially if George Hill doesn't go, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm not really the big George Hill fan, but I guess he does make a difference. He plays with a little heart. He's got some playoff experience. But this one here is a very important game for Utah. No, they can't win the series, so let's forget about that. But it's a very important game. If they get swept tonight, is this the last time we see Gordon Hayward in a Utah uniform? Do they need to push this to a Game 6 to possibly secure Gordon Hayward in a Utah uniform? Those are questions that's going to be asked leading up to the game tonight. You heard it here first. But will this be the last game that we see Gordon Hayward in a Utah uniform? He's going to be one of the most sought-after free agents, I believe, between him, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry. You're going to have a lot. They're all going to have a lot of attention, a lot of attraction. I believe they're going to get their fair share. they're going to have to come up big and dig deep. Otherwise, I see another sweep by the defending Western Conference champions, as they'll look to get a little rest as well, and that could benefit Durant. Moving right along, I want to touch up on baseball. Yesterday, I had mentioned it was a real opportunity for the Mets to be in a position to sweep the Miami Marlins, who just seems to have their numbers, by the way. And that task was just a definitely tough task, as they had to call up a minor leaguer to pitch in last-minute notice because of the 3-game suspension issued to Matt Harvey. For whatever reason or another, this guy decides to skip the game on Saturday, not show up. Who knows what happens? There's reports out there that he was seen playing golf, blasey. I just don't know what is going through the heads of some of these athletes. I really don't know. This is not a good look. This is a guy that the Mets have high hopes on. They're building their franchise around, their pitching staff around. 2 seasons ago, I thought they should have traded him for a bat. I still think they should trade him for a bat. The question is, what's his trade value? What can you get in return? Will someone give you a big player in return for him? That's the question. When healthy, he's one of the best in the game. But what is his trade value right now? But with that said, he gets scratched from his scheduled start due to his reckless behavior, I'm going to put it. And the Mets get 1 hit off of Miami as they lose 7-0, and Stanton continues to tear the cover off the ball as he plays against the Mets. There was a stat. He has 20 home runs in like 43 games or 46 games at Citi Field. He's becoming the new Chipper Jones. The only difference is he's not doing it in playoff time. He's just doing it in regular season. Chipper Jones did it everywhere, any time of the year. So the Mets failed to get it done as they was going for the sweep. But that's not the case with the crosstown rival New York Yankees. The New York Yankees complete a sweep against the defending World Series champions, the Chicago Cubs. And they did it in outstanding fashion in a 6-hour marathon, 18-inning, extra inning game. And go figure, the winning run is scored on a ground out. Let me repeat that. A winning run is scored on a ground out. Wow, great hustle by the runner. Great win for the Yankees. I tell you, a team like this that's not supposed to be there, and even though they got some young talent and could be on the way up, if you don't get to them early and you give them a chance to believe, we're going to look up, and come the 1st of September, the Yankees is going to be in the thick of things or leading things. With this young team, it seems like nothing is going wrong right now. Everything is going right. Good win for the Yankees. I don't know what their schedule is, but after an 18-inning game like that and having to travel, I hope they have the day off today. But good win for the Yankees, as they're the best team in the American League. They trail the Nationals, I believe, for the best record in baseball. But they got the best record in the American League. It's only looking up for them. Now, as far as the Chicago Cubs, I know it's early, but I just don't like what's happening over there. They're in a division where nobody's running away with it, so they'll still be in the middle of things, but I just don't like what's happening over there. I don't like what's happening over there. So that's going to do it for the show. I'll get with you guys soon. Once again, this is Ramel for Chopping It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Yeah, be good. See you soon.